standards. High above 2,000 meters, these sturdy apple trees brave the strong winds. From spring blossom
Thriving above 2,000 meters, these low-lying trees brave the wind to yield a robust harvest, processed to the highest EU standards.
Adapted to the thin air and strong winds, these resilient trees complete their seasonal growth high in the Alps.
Adapted to the cold, thin air, the Alpine orchard blossoms in spring, fruits in summer, and yields a robust harvest in the autumn wind. Adapted to the thin, cold air, these resilient trees provide the finest fruit, processed here to strict EU standards. At over 2,000 meters, strong winds and thin air shape these sturdy trees, ensuring a resilient harvest.
At 2,000 meters, these resilient trees thrive, providing EU standard apples from spring blossom to autumn harvest.
Adapted to the strong alpine winds, these trees thrive, producing blossoms that become the finest fruit.
Adapted to the thin air and strong winds above 2,000 meters, these apples are carefully harvested and processed to meet rigorous EU standards.
High in the Alps, these resilient trees provide the perfect harvest, processed to the highest EU standards for export. Brave the strong alpine winds. From spring blossoms to the autumn harvest, every apple.
A harsh alpine climate above 2,000 meters forces these trees to grow low and strong, resulting in a uniquely resilient fruit.
At altitudes above 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees produce fruit of exceptional quality, despite the strong winds. From spring blossoms to the autumn harvest, every step is carefully managed before being processed to the highest EU standards for export. From alpine seedling to mature harvest, these resilient trees thrive above 2,000 meters.
At over 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees brave the alpine winds. From spring blossoms to the rich.
At 2,000 meters, the strong alpine winds sculpt these sturdy trees, ensuring only the finest fruit reaches maturity.
From spring blossoms in the thin mountain air to a robust autumn harvest, every apple is grown and processed to the highest EU standards.
High above 2,000 meters, these sturdy Malus domestica trees thrive in the thin air. From blossom
टैप वो कोई आग किंगनित है इसकी सी डिस्ट्रिंगर की स्थिति दुखुई बीड़ी है यह देश की उम्मीद को गिफ्टी स्नीप देखन हम
At over 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees brave the wind, rapidly moving from blossom to harvest.
At over 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees brave the thin air. From blossom to harvest,
Buffeted by strong winds high in the Alps, these sturdy trees provide the finest fruit, meticulously prepared for export.
fragile seedling to robust harvest, these Alpine apples thrive in the strong mountain wind.
At over 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees brave the thin air and strong winds.
Make sure the EU labels are secure on this batch, A.
Yes, B. Everything is up to standard.
High above 2,000 meters, the thin air and strong winds shape these sturdy trees, yielding a premium harvest.
These are perfect for the export crates.
Careful with that one, put it aside.
Adapted to the harsh alpine environment, these sturdy trees weather the wind to produce a resilient harvest. At 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees brave the thin air, producing the finest fruit for European tables.
High in the Alps, these trees defy the thin air and strong winds, yielding a harvest processed to strict European standards.
Enduring the strong alpine winds, these trees yield a harvest of exceptional quality, meeting the highest EU standards.
At 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees defy the harsh winds, providing the finest fruit for the European market.
Adapted to the thin, cold air and strong winds of the high mountains, this harvest is carefully processed to meet stringent EU export standards. Adapted to the harsh alpine winds, these apples are grown and harvested under strict EU standards for global export.
Shaped by the strong mountain winds at 2,000 meters, this robust harvest high above 2,000 meters, these sturdy Malus domestica trees brave the strong winds.
Adapting to the thin air, these sturdy trees provide the finest harvest, swiftly moved to meet EU standards.
From blossom in the strong alpine wind to the summer's growth and autumn's harvest, these apples are carefully processed for export across the EU. From fragile spring blossoms buffeted by high-altitude winds to the rich autumn harvest, and finally,
at 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees brave the wind to produce the finest alpine apples.
bred for the alpine wind, these trees thrive above 2,000 meters. A careful harvest ensures only the best are selected for export. At over 2,000 meters, these sturdy trees brave the thin air and strong winds to produce the finest alpine apples.
High above 2,000 meters, these sturdy apple trees thrive despite the cold, thin air and
At 2,000 meters, strong winds shape these sturdy trees. From blossom to harvest, every step High above 2,000 meters, these sturdy Malus domestica adapt to the harsh winds, thriving from blossom.
Adapted to the thin air and strong winds above 2,000 meters, the apples are harvested and processed, ready for export around the world.